Okay, so here we are. The students are very busy discussing their questions that I've given them. We are in the OBS and Gynae seminar room, and you can see the students are all in groups. They're all busy with the task. There's twins in the background. Nosipo's back. She's very precocious. She's already at med school. Some of our friends who had gynae emergencies have recovered because you managed them so well. Oh, the unicorn's asleep. Typical med student class, I suppose. And they're all busy with the task. They've all been given fizzers. So if you were sitting in the class, you would have a fizzer to help your brain think. And they've all got this piece of paper that they have to write things on. What are they doing? Okay. So these are the questions that the students have to answer. There are two groups answering this question, two groups answering that, and two groups answering that. So why do women have sex? Why do women fall pregnant? And why do women have TOPs? Now, there are many answers to each of these, which you're going to be tasked with thinking about shortly. And when you think of your answers, you have to classify them. So let me just stand back so that you can see the table. So let's say you think of 10 answers to why do women have sex. Every single one of those answers has to be written down in one of these columns. And the way to think about it is that if in this circumstance it is always voluntary, it is always this woman's choice to do this thing, irrespective of what other circumstances there are, then it's voluntary. If it is completely involuntary, she had no choice in the matter whatsoever, then it is obviously involuntary. And then a gray area is it could either be voluntary or involuntary or a combination of both, depending on the surrounding circumstances. So let's take one of the most obvious ones. So sex and rape are not the same thing. Let's just be clear about that. But most students, in fact all groups, will come up with rape as an involuntary reason here. And that is important because we really do need to discuss that. So rape is involuntary. That's not something that a woman has chosen. It is something that's completely and utterly involuntary. So that would go in this column. But many of the other reasons that women have sex would go into some of these other columns. You might decide that all of your answers are in gray or involuntary or voluntary. If that's what you think, that's what you think. So I want you to take a minute to write down these three questions, and each question needs its own table, and you need to write down every single answer that you think of somewhere on this table. If an answer can appear either voluntary or involuntary, then it's obviously a gray area because clearly it depends on the circumstances. Okay, so I want you to do that. Answer each of these three questions in the three columns, and then we'll come back for the discussion. And do try and do this because I really want you to think about it. It will help you with your reflection.